They kind of go into very specifics about the look and feel of the places. So I'm going to go more into the details, the mechanics. Basically, there's going to be clinics at every R&R large station and at Grimhex and also at the planetary locations. Out of the planetary locations, you can already hear they're talking about Area 18, New Babbage, and Orison. And the one that they are not detailing yet is Lorville. That's going to come in a little later. Now, each place will have a pharmacy on the first floor, their insurance vendor that lets you set your respawn point, and then finally the elevators that will take you upstairs if you need to drop somebody off that needs to get healed.
Specifically worked on the upper floors of the hospital. That's where the player will be able to check in at the nurse's desk, spawn in at the medical room.
In my opinion, this hospital shines.
One of the things we're going to have to establish is if the clinics that are on the R&R stations and at Grim Hex have any limitations compared to the planetary landing locations. Like, are they smaller? Are they going to have a certain amount of people that can spawn there at any given time? And also, are they going to cost more for their services due to the space being a premium? We're going to have to find out. Also, they have something coming up right after this that mentions that the Stormwall space whales may be tied to the Orison General being completed, which is quite strange, but I'm just going to let you listen.
And seeing those big whale passing through the clouds in front of you as you're in those medical bed feels special. It feels different.
And then we have the space clinics. They still offer all the same services that you would find in a larger hospital. It's just that everything is more compact.
We're creating modules and different pieces of the space clinic, so that way every time you experience it, it'll be just a little bit different and you'll still get the same feeling.
I'm going to take this moment to mention that their main detail was that the R&R clinics are very close to the spawn locations of your ships, the ASOP terminals, so they're going to be very popular, they think. They also said that they're going to have the same abilities as the larger locations, but my concern is, are the medical facilities going to be well stocked? Like, for example, for drugs even, and other things like that, and is insurance going to be universal at these locations? I think insurance is going to be covered. I'm curious about medical stocks. I've seen on stations they have less supplies than the planetary landing location shops of the same kinds.
Grimhex, if it had a smell, it would smell like like a sport bag or something like that.
Low tech, it's not as clean as New Bab or Horizon.
Me personally, it's the best. It's much smaller. It's more like on the clinic size, so there's not a big elevator to go through. As we all know, elevators are the biggest killers in game development, so it's a good thing that we skipped one there. It has this really nice view to the asteroid field outside. And the cool thing is that you can also land your ship right next to a side entrance to the clinic. So if you're in a hurry and you don't want to go and park in a hangar or into the traversal, you can park right next to it, get out, walk in, and get treated. But the thing is, like, it's open space, right? So your ship is exposed while you do that, and you could very well see a pirate fly in and shoot at your ship as you're getting fixed yourself, and really this kind of emergent like interaction is really what makes the game shine, I think. The hospitals are part of a game changer.
When people leave the hospital and they wake up and they explore around, I think they're really going to see like the love and care we put into each crevice and corner.
I hope that the hospitals are going to be a way to wrap up the full healing loop. Honestly, if the players find them convenient, me as a designer, I'm happy my job is done.
I wanted to give Grimhex its full look it really deserved, but just remember, medical will require way more than med pens, different kinds of drugs, and there will be limited stocks at every location. So I'm very curious to see how limited the stations will be in those drugs, especially if you're trying to operate off-station as a medic or with the Cure Life medical gun as a coverage for your entire org while you're doing missions.
It's the Gladius, Sabre, and Retaliator, and find out what it really means to be the gold standard in a pipeline that is continuously evolving to this day and beyond.
The gold standard pass is what we are terming this current pass on the vehicles. We are implementing primarily cockpit button placement, cockpit button animations, making sure everything is symmetric, both character and item-wise, exposing all the ship items, lighting passes, material passes. Gold standard is finishing the ship to as complete a standard as we can with the feature set that we have right now in the game. The first ship that we put through this pass was the Aegis Gladius.
I was a little nervous working on the Gladius because it is like the Star Squadron, and you know, I wanted to make sure I did a good job on it. And then also coupled with the fact that because Squadron are using it, I had to make sure that I didn't break anything with each submit, so they can keep working on Squadron and you know, still able to test and work on it.
I appreciated the honesty behind the scenes talking about how Squadron 42 had so much pressure on the Gladius, being it's one of their hero ships, and how he's talking about a commit being impacting the entire database of ships. I also think it's interesting, though I will say this, the Gladius is an older hat. I can't wait to see more about the Sabre and the Retaliator later in this episode, because those are new.
And then, yeah, just like some geo optimizations and material optimizations and more stuff that you don't necessarily would see, but makes the game, you know, more optimized and runs better.
You can even see on a small ship like this, weapon lockers, personal inventory, HUD. These were all major parts.
The Sabre, we built on what we learned from the Gladius and did that in the Sabre.
For instance, the damage mesh, needed a bit of tweaking. We added in a bunch of lighting so you can still read the ship from afar, but not make it too bright as it's still a stealth ship. And after the whole exterior was done and dusted, we moved on to a revision of the dashboard, overall just reworking so it's not as noisy, and now you have like a better view of like your cockpit, and then just everything nice and compact to the side.
These are nice, but they gloss over the shield issues and the offensive balancing that we needed for this ship to truly become the supremacy and semi-stealth fighter that it needed to be.
So the Retaliator Gold Standard is obviously a much larger task than the Gladius and Sabre. Has all the same criteria of work, so looking at the cockpit, looking at the components, adding all the things, checking everything's symmetric. But because it's got an interior, then there's additional tasks added. So the same work we do for the cockpit of the pilot has to be done for the turrets. The components that you can physically take out of the ship, can you physically take them out of the ship? Do the doors need to be wider, etc.? Now you've made the doors wider, do they still fit in the ship when they open? And we also took the time to look at the central room and thought, can we improve on this? We decided to remove the top and bottom docking collars and go for a side airlock, which also helps for docking because that's just a natural walking on transition.
As someone who's tried to EVA into a Tali multiple times, when the pilot opens all exterior doors and you end up going from top to bottom or bottom to top, this is greatly appreciated. The larger elevator is a great compromise. I believe that this was a great design and good work by the crew to come up with a good, simple fix. Love it.
Thing that the Retaliator has is the customizable room modules, and there's a cargo module front and back.
And here's the Retaliator base coming into its own. Cargo, 12-seat dropship. Fantastic.
A dropship module at the front. They were all brought up to current standards, so when modularity comes on as a swappable item, they are good to go. That's where we're at with the first gold standard ships. Obviously going to go through all the ships, but we are going to focus on the ones that feature heavily in Squadron 42 first, and then we will roll on to your favourite ship afterwards.
Just a small thing here for people that are a little into far-fetched possibilities and rumors. Jared made a hint a couple weeks ago for the Genesis Starliner being maybe in the future be in the Crusader showroom. And then the week after that, it was put up for sale alongside all the other Crusader ships when we had the rollout of Orison and 3.14. And JC just said, you will move on to your favorite ship afterwards. Now, we just had the Starliner added to the roadmap, but it's for next year, middle of next year starting, with just a concept team so far assigned. But it is kind of interesting. That is Jared's favorite ship. So I doubt it, but it is a possible little nod there, unless he was just making the joke, because every single player wants their favorite ship talked about and focused on, of course. So I just thought that would be a good analysis. I hope you appreciated this, and please subscribe if you appreciate it. When something doesn't have enough meat on the bones, so to speak, for an entire video, I like to just tie it in as a bonus added to the end of a video as part of like an overtime. This month in Star Citizen came out, and I've covered extensively all of this on my other videos. but there is some new information and some things we can glean from this topic that I think we can learn from, just kind of filling some blanks in, so to speak. So for the Ninetales lockdown, they mentioned that the 3.14 patch cycle will lend support to the CDF forces, either in supply runs or combat assistance, confirming that the testing phase of Ninetales lockdown will continue into 3.14 live, as we've already seen in the early 3.14 lives, to be fair. And piracy will also be supported. When we go down a little bit further, the Xeno threat is here, but it is suggested it is the flight and cargo hauling together, service spanning race to get the UES Warhammer, the Javelin, that is the UEE's Navy's pride of Stanton, back in service and fighting against the enemy Idrises that come in that are part of the Ninetales group. Keep an eye on our comms channel for more details. And it is already being suggested that perhaps because of the placement of the Ninetales lockdown being placed first, that this will come out first. We've also seen in the live that Ninetales lockdown has been active, where this is the station being locked down and you have to go scan out the jamming fleet and then fight the jamming fleet or defend it if you're the pirates instead of CDF. And usually you're a contractor, whereas you're officially part of the CDF forces when you get to Xeno Threat. And it's already being suggested that perhaps by the end of the month they'll switch over to Xeno Threat. Although that remains to be seen. We haven't seen anything official just yet as of this message. But stay tuned. I will guarantee I'll make videos about it. And the next thing up that I'm very excited about is the Ship Showdown is coming back. Maybe some of my pet ships will finally get a Ship Showdown skin. This is a really cool event where you vote on your favorite ships, and it usually culminates in a sale that will then have those ships for sale. And everybody who has that ship already or picks up that ship can get a Best in Show skin for paint for that ship. And usually it has a lighting pass. It's a full-on replacement. For reference, there was this weird off-white pinkish color that the Reclaimer got as part of their year's Best in Show colors, and the coloration of most of the active locations inside the Reclaimer for that Best in Show skin changed the entire feel of the entire ship. It went from this ship that felt like aliens were going to come out of the wall at you, and from the movies, and it went to this ship that actually still was well worn and well worked in, but it was actually, you could see, and you didn't feel like it was so dangerous. It's funny how the lighting changes things so drastically. I actually have a buddy who has that paint, so maybe I can get him in the game and convince him to spawn that puppy and get a good view of it, because it's really a special ship. So Ship Showdown can really change the game for a lot of folks. Fan favorites often get there: the Cutlasses, the Carrack, in the one year the Reclaimer when it first came out, if I'm not mistaken. Really cool stuff. So I can't wait to see the Ship Showdown come out again, and I hope to see some underdogs get through this year, especially as we get more and more ships in the game actually flyable, and that they could really be appreciated for what the special ships they are. Also, as I spoke about before, there's going to be a Spectrum Ask Me Anything regarding dynamic events. Note, this is on Spectrum. It is being hosted on Spectrum. Now, I bet it will be probably cross-linked to many different social media platforms like Reddit or the different Discords and such, but it will originally come out on Spectrum. So you're going to need to be on Spectrum to ask questions, most likely, and get that information out. And dynamic events means that Xenothreat, Ninetales Lockdown, and as they say, and more is going to be covered in this. So you could ask, are there more dynamic events in the pipeline, and when will we see them? Hint, hint. I would love to get that answer. That's one of my questions I'm hoping to get across. So later this month, they'll probably post up the forum article for that. Probably in general, like the thread will start, and then you can post up. And also, don't forget to upvote others who have the same thought you do. So make sure you get, you can all boost together to get to the top of the list. And the Talk Like a Pirate Day is going to be fun. There is multiple pirate skins in this game. There's a Cutlass with a pirate skin. There is a Gladius and a Cat, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the stack of ships that have pirate skins. So, when the winds blow up, your wind's bow dips down. You'll want a fine ship to steer you through. Check out our pirate-themed offerings in the celebration of Talk Like a Pirate Day, as you hate to sail on the rotten tub. And taste my Krabby Patties. A Gildan joke right there. I don't know. It's a fun thing. It's entertaining. I think with the pirates, it's going to be this thing where they're going to offer probably the older skins, hopefully based on what they did with the Emerald Phoenix, to make it more in line with the other green offerings for like the Ursa, like the Fortuna Rover, I think it was called the Fortuna Ursa Rover, and the Fortuna, I think it's Archimedes. I strongly suspect they're probably bringing those older pirate paints / skins in variants in line with what the modern designs are, and that's a good thing probably for a lot of people, particularly the owners, because that'll be, they'll be looking good, and hopefully they'll have a sale associated with that. When they did the Emerald Phoenix, they did not have a sale associated with it, unfortunately, recently. But I think that was because it was nowhere near the time for February. So I suspect when February finally comes around, we'll probably see a whole slew of Emerald class things, particularly the Emerald Phoenix, hopefully. But the Talk Like a Pirate Day is probably going to be the actual launch. Will be the first time we see the new paints and skins, and then also the launch and sale of said skins, and folks can enjoy them. So that's all I had for you from this month in Star Citizen that's new. And I just wanted to cover those smaller things. I'll include them as a link in here as well. So if you want to see the information on the referral bonuses, if you missed that somehow, and the discounted starter packs, they are in here. Do catch my other videos that I put out today that cover those extensively, and also your options for CCUs and all sorts of other fun stuff. But in general, just enjoy yourself and fly safe.